It's a good afternoon to you. Yes, coming to you live then from the Sandton Convention Center. But this time around, we're going to take a look at the markets and how things are faring on that front. It certainly has been a positive tilt for most of the market picture. It seems that the vaccine news, not just of Pfizer just last week, but certainly Moderna as well, 94.5% effectiveness has certainly helped the market. And they're seemingly quashing away the issues around the increased number of COVID-19 cases across the world and what that would mean as well for the economic lockdowns that are certainly bound to happen. But the question marks do become just around the economic growth picture that South Africa and the rest of the world perhaps could have once a vaccine is indeed in sight. A very quick look at what the markets sort of look like at a time like this is mainly positive across the board. Even the Asian markets managed to close out in some positive territory across the day. In fact, around 0.5% better off was the Hang Seng out in Hong Kong, so enjoying some positivity there, going up 129 points by the close of trade on that picture. Even Europe seemingly enjoying some positive numbers as well across the market picture there too. So indeed following through from that Asian trade and taking on to the local positivity there too. The JSE also has gone up around 0.5%. That's 272 points as well. Then the all share enjoying a sense of positivity as well in this lunchtime trading picture. It does seem again that the industry news around the COVID-19 vaccine situation is indeed playing into the market's hands, and they're certainly taking in quite a joyous sort of situation, if you want to call it that, at this time as well. 0.5% better off then for the JSE all share at present too. Quick look at the currencies then as well. The local currency has been pretty flat for most of the day, slightly better, around 1/3% at this point, 15 Rand 35 against the US dollar, while a euro will set you back 18 Rand and 22 cents. It's 20 Rand 40 odd for a British pound at this time. In terms of your commodities then as well, it's a good day for the oil price. It's nearly up 1% then at this time, with gold sitting up around 0.25%. So the picture here has certainly been quite better off for the most part then, particularly in terms of the news that has certainly come out as well then today. We are seeing the likes of SPAR release their set of earnings as well. Then the market certainly taking heed of that, while also in link with SPAR, the retail sales number for South Africa has come out in September. Retail sales shrinking by 2.7% in the month of September, then following a revised contraction of 4.1% then in the month of August. So certainly interesting over there. On a month-on-month basis, we were up 1.1% as well for that retail sales figure, so certainly doing better out on that front. As I noted, the earnings picture for SPAR as well coming out today, they saw their shares hit a 9-month high, and that was because, of course, their normalized headline earnings per share, which is a localized sort of way of looking at profits, has gone up 8.8%. Poland remaining on track to break even by the end of 2021, so they're enjoying some fruitful numbers out on that side. The SPAR group getting their earnings going up, as I said, nearly 10% higher there. That share price going up to around 201 Rand and 5 cents a share, in fact. So some positivity across the board. These are the first set of results, which include the impact, of course, of COVID-19 and what that has meant for them as well. So it has been interesting. Turnover going up 13.5%. It's around 124.3 billion Rand was the group's turnover as well. So retailer faring very well on that front. Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers joins us now, and we get to unpack some of this news with him. Makwe, the market picture overall has been quite interesting. The issue of vaccines has seemingly taken the market by storm, and we're seeing what looks like a little bull run.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe we just need to understand that there's still some wind out there. So it's a question of getting your sales right so that you can catch some of that wind. But it's not surprising that whatever rally that we've seen, that have been mainly driven by the positive developments when it comes to vaccine, that at some point, that hope just has to burst a little bit, and you see some profit taking in, trying to creep in, because markets are so spoiled. They just deal with one catalyst for a day or two. Thereafter, we're looking for another catalyst. And now here it is, all the vaccine developments, I think they've already been baked into asset prices. Hence, we see that since yesterday and today, the markets are kind of more steady as compared to the rally that we've seen when we got the news. And bearing in mind that we still have that headwind, Ayarabile, when it comes to the US elections results, as much as we like to believe that it's more of a done deal, that the Democrats are now in charge. We don't know what might pan out. Remember, Bush managed to win the elections after 32 days after losing them. So people still have that you know what, there might be some slim chance or things might drag a little bit further, even though 95% of the markets are convinced that it's almost a done deal. The Democrats are now in charge, and also showing when it comes to the likes of the oil prices. Remember what happened with oil, for the fact that we've seen inventories being as high as that tells you that demand is not yet good out there. And as much as we know that OPEC and its allies are not in a rush to start putting in more oil come January, that is helping a little bit.
Yeah, Marco, do you see the standing point when it comes to the oil price then? Do you see the OPEC nations perhaps holding off then particularly on any more supply increases, especially in a time when they can see that the whole world hasn't necessarily gone back to the kind of expenditure, the kind of usage, the kind of demand for oil that was there pre-COVID?
Definitely, because remember, the reason they had to cut supply, it was because they're trying to help out prices because there's no demand. And the reason there was no demand, it was because economies are not growing. The reason the economies are not growing is because of the lockdowns which were caused by COVID-19. So up until they're convinced that there is decent demand out there, then definitely the guys will start putting in more oil. And remember also, we've got the likes of Libya production, which is coming much faster than we expected. That also now is putting another issue when it comes to oversupply. So I don't think OPEC will be in a hurry to now start producing more.
Yeah, I certainly hope they aren't in too much of a hurry there. Where does the rand go from here though, Mark? We're 15 rand 30 odd against the US dollar. It seemingly is headed further and further below or towards 15 and below, and back to levels we saw at the start of the year. Are we definitely pre-COVID-19 now?
Definitely, but you know what? It's just too early to call it because anything could happen. Because remember, this whole thing is all about what is happening with the US dollar. It's more of a risk on trade. The minute the markets become optimistic that at least the world economy will start to recover, then we'll see a risk on trade. And the rand, just like equities, then they will tend to benefit because now people don't have any reason not to take chances, and we'll see the likes of gold going down. But yes, more now it's a question of a risk on trade, and it's got little to do what is happening in the domestic economy. And anyway, as it is now, we don't have anything much that is happening back home to be able to drive the rand either way.
Mark, just very finally, I suppose then, results coming out today as well. SPAR and their full year numbers, a big jump in their share price, but also that revenue figure, more than 13% gained for group turnover. So clearly the pandemic helped them more than anything else. The retailers doing well across the board.
Definitely, and I think they got a nice boost from the sales mix, because now with people buying stuff that they will be now consuming from home, that managed to get them what they call their high margin items to start selling. So that helped them, though yes, there was this negative impact that we saw coming from the banning of the liquor, because the guys apparently lost almost a third of their trading days. And bearing in mind that I think the liquor accounts for anything between 20 and 25% of their revenue when it comes to SPAR, and even cigarettes as well. But yes, generally, grocery continue to do well. And I think it's a question of, if you've got lockdowns, if you've got restrictions, then definitely you have to shop at your local grocer. And those shops, they happen to be well positioned even in the likes of Ireland and Switzerland. Hence, they kept on doing well. So yes, they benefited from that. And going forward, the guys should continue to do well. And the fact that also they opened 65 more new stores across all brands, that help. Even the likes of Build It, even though they were affected by that first 5 weeks of lockdown, the guys managed to be resilient. I mean, their revenue is only down to 0.9%. And you check at SPAR's return on equity, it's not too bad.
Yeah, Markwe, it really has been an interesting market picture across the board. Even on the global front, we're still seeing some positivity, so very helpful there. But appreciate your time as well then this afternoon. Markwe Masilela from Markwe Fund Managers there joining us as we get to unpack this market picture. As I said, positive across most indices across the globe. 0.5% higher for the JSE All Share, sitting at 57,365 points. Even the local currency doing, even if it is ever so slightly, still sitting in some green territory there as well. So too for the Brent crude price as well as platinum, which have certainly gone higher this afternoon. That is a look